Hi there, Woolley Geeks, and welcome to episode 7. Today is Friday, January 11th, and I have another jam-packed show for you. We have had a lot going on this week. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. I had a fun day today with Alora. Took her out to lunch. I was actually supposed to meet a coworker for lunch. She had invited me out for lunch at a Asian restaurant near the office, and that didn't work out. She had an emergency come up at the last minute, but Laura had been really excited to go because she was invited as well. So I went ahead and took her anyway, and we had a very nice lunch together. And let me tell you something, that little girl is just so cute. She loves tea. She loves hot tea, and she's precious because after her, we were served tea and her tea cooled off, she would so gingerly take, let me put my knitting down for a second, she would so gingerly take the little cup in both hands, and she would close her eyes and just smell it like this, and then she would sip it, and then she would sit it very gingerly down, and then she would do this. She was like this, bowing to the tea, and back up. It was so cute. By like the third time she did it, I had to ask her what was going on because I've never seen her do this before. And she says, "Mommy, I love the tea. It was prepared with love. I'm showing reverence for the tea." I was like, "Oh, you go right ahead and bow to that tea, sweetheart." So it was so cute. She really does totally floor me. I'm thinking to myself, does she even know what the word reverence means? So I said, "Laura, what's reverence mean?" And she goes, "Mommy, it means I respect it." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Good." You respect that tea. So, lots of things going on. I have a lot of stuff on the needles. Currently working on a project, and I'll show that in a second. No. Oh, I almost said no FOs this week, but I do have an FO. I finished the Tardis Hat. It's awesome. There is a link to it in the show notes, which have already been posted. By the way, in case you're a brand new viewer, my name is Holly, and I am known as I'm a knitter and a gaming nerd geek. So I'm known as Silver Moon Witch on Facebook, and Silver Moon Witch on Plurk. And if you, not everybody might know this, but if you've ever played WoW, you'll get the reference. One of my favorite tunes, I have a level 85 mage who is gorgeous. I really spent a lot of time planning this tune out when I very first started and what she would look like and things like that. And so she's almost level 86. I've been playing her a little bit. And she's a blood elf on the Horde side, the Horde faction, and so her major home city is Silvermoon. So hence my tag on my social networks is Silver Moon Witch. Anyhow, I do have a finished object. It's the Tardis Hat. It's a free pattern downloadable from Ravelry, and I currently don't have it because the hat was knitted to be gifted to our roommate, who is a huge Doctor Who fan, and so he already has it and loves it, and he's wearing it. I do have pictures up on my Ravelry. What I linked in the show notes was my project page, which has the link to the hat and has the photos that I've taken. And if you are friends of mine and you are on my Facebook, then you saw pictures actually on Facebook before I even put it up in Rav. So that was my one and only finished object this week. I worked on it. It took me 2 days to do it. I finished it up actually last Sunday. So it took me all week to tell you about it because I didn't want to post too early. Because we do this segment every Friday. Yeah, there we go. And last weekend I also graduated college. I now have a Bachelor's of Science degree in Information System Security, so I'm very proud about that. So I'm already, scoping out jobs where my husband and I want to relocate and house hunting, and then working full time and things like that. So it's amazing I find time at all to knit, but I did. I took Allura to Cat Share this afternoon, actually late this evening, and just it was great. I love that place. You know, on if you know the password, you can go on their Facebook and find the password. Your child, when you go to pay for your admission, the child can tell them the password. It's like 20% off. So for $6, you can play as long your child can play as long as they want. It's a place full of bouncy houses and soft floors and climbable things and a dance floor, things like that. I mean, she can run wild like she was raised by wolves. I can sit and relax and knit and enjoy the shenanigans. So that's exactly what I did. So I missed my knit night at my local LYS, but it's okay because really we were just having a relaxing enough time, and I was able to get to knitting while we were at Cat Share. So whatever, a knit night's a knit night. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be in an LYS, or it can be in somebody's house, or it could be in an indoor playground. If you got time to knit and the space to do it, you go for it. Have yarn will travel. So I am actually continuing my knit night. I don't normally knit because I don't have a co-host all the time. I occasionally have a guest co-host, but this is sort of a mindless pattern. I am knitting, this is Caron Simply Soft in the Iris color, which is sort of a bluey purple. It looks more blue on the camera, but it is this beautiful, gorgeous jewel tone purple. And I have the stitch markers here for the arms. That will be later because it is constructed from the bottom up. And these stitch markers, I love them. They came from Rare Pearls. I love the large ring, and it's an enclosed ring, so there's nothing to get snagged on your knitting. And I like the shape of them. They're not perfectly round. Let me see if I can get them in on the camera. See how they have like corners? I love them. They're beautiful and they're beaded, and it was a set of 5. Here's the other one. Really love them. So they're a joy to work with. I look for projects now that I have to use stitch markers on because I love these stitch markers so much. So there's that. So I'm knitting on that right now. I had casted on that last week, but worked primarily on projects that were up that I have a deadline for. And I don't really have a deadline on this, but I do want to get this knitted fairly quickly for Allura so she could wear it before the winter is over. But hello, in Georgia, we've had 70-degree weather the past couple days. Lots of rain, but 70-degree weather. Go figure. So yeah, that's really creepy actually. It's not supposed to be this warm. This is like spring weather in Georgia. So anyway, this is the Love of Knitting winter issue that I have her sweater in. I did a review of this a couple of weeks ago, I think back on episode 5. So if you're looking for a review on this magazine, just go back a couple of episodes and you'll find it. But I am knitting this for Allura, the Wee Bonnie Lass. It's a sweater and tam, and I'm just all over the page. Sweater and tam, and then a matching sweater and tam for a doll. And so we're really excited. I do have enough yarn to knit all 4 pieces, so I'm very excited about that. The only thing that I did have to do, because this yarn, even though it's number 4 yarn, it's a little bit lighter than some number 4s. Let's say, for instance, this is a number 4, and then my Starving Artist Hat, which I don't currently have in my hand right now, is also a number 4 yarn. But this is Caron. The other one was made with Lion Brand. The other yarn, the Lion Brand, like Tweety, denser. Same weight yarn, but it's denser. This is also number 4 yarn, which is what that calls for, which I'm guessing is like a worsted weight. Not as dense. Don't know if you can see my face through it a little bit here. And it was worse. Using the needles that this called for, it just really wasn't dense enough. So my husband's giggling in the background at something on TV. But it's just, I went down 2 needle sizes, and then what I did was, to compensate for the gauge, is I'm knitting 1 size larger on the sweater. So it should work out fine. You know, it's okay. She's just probably gonna have to wear a like a little tank underneath of it or whatever, but you know what, where we're moving to, she's gonna need to layer up anyway. So, and it's gorgeous, and she's probably, you know, she's young and growing, and if she gets 2 seasons out of this sweater, I'll be shocked. Seriously. So and the yarn was really, I got it on a deep sale. It was really inexpensive. Cost me less than $20 for 7 skeins of this. I said 7 skeins, less than $20 at the time I bought it. So, yeah, I don't care if she wears it 2 seasons. I really don't. So I'm currently working on that. I am also working on, I don't know, I did link it in my show notes as well, but there is a New Year's knit-along called Sock It To Me 2013. Sock It To Me 2013, they do have January's pattern up on their group on Ravelry, and it is the beginner's, where's the pattern? It is the beginner's sock, and I'm really glad that it's an easy sock because it's my first cuff down. I've never done a cuff down sock before because I really love doing toe up. I love toe up. So I was never even interested in a cuff down, but then I've been like, okay, well, I need to expand my horizons a little bit. So this is the beginner's sock by Heather Sorta at knitsbyheather.com, and you can download the free pattern from Ravelry. But there it is. That's what I'm working on. And this is actually more of a house slipper sock kind of thing. It says, she does walk you through every step. She says, don't be intimidated by socks. This pattern is also made to wear as a thicker pair or like house socks. And I have a sister-in-law that's going to be having some minor surgery soon. And I don't know if it's outpatient or not. But she is not going to be able to bend over and put something on her feet. And post-surgery, your circulation isn't that great. So she's going to want her feet warm, and it's wintertime up there. They had 14 degrees just the other day. So I'm knitting these out of the leftover yarn. I had the Cascade 220, the black. Plenty of leftover yarn. I just did the heel turn, and I'm decreasing for the gusset. So here we are. It looks really weird right now because here's the cuff, and then the heel started about here because they're also anklets, as you saw in the picture. And I did the heel turn, started for the gusset. And what I'm going to do is when this is done, those little bottoms that you can sew onto socks, or I forget how they go on, but they're slipper bottoms, and you can get them at your craft stores. I know Michael's carries them, and it's usually on the bottom shelf of all the knitting notions. I'm going to put a slipper bottom on them. And it'll be a really simple sock for either one of her young children or her husband to be able to slip on her feet, because she's not going to be able to bend over and do it herself. So those are going to be shipped to her, and I'm not sure when her surgery date is, so I am trying to get those done as quickly as possible. That's my phone. Reminding me that I have a podcast tonight. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Let me actually turn that down so that in case I get a text or something, we won't be interrupted. So yeah. Wow, lost my train of thought. Okay, so I've got that in progress. So that's the January socks for the Sock It To Me 2013. It is a pair of socks a month challenge. I'm going to do 13 pairs of socks this year, though, because, hello, it's 2013. Why only do 12 pairs of socks? Let's have a baker's dozen. So one month I'm going to knit 2 pairs, and it's probably going to be January, since it's still early in January, and these socks are pretty simple. Let's see. What else am I working on? I have a lot of progress to show you on... Where'd it go? Here we are. I have a lot of progress to show you on my Bridget socks. I am almost done with those. I do have a target date. I would love to get these done by M-Bulk. M-Bulk is also known as Bridget's Day, and it's a day where we celebrate sunshine, warmth, creativity, family, and it's the last of the winter holidays in my faith. So I have one more pattern row to do, and then I start the heel. So this is sock number 2, the left sock of the Bridget sock pattern. I do have the finished right sock right here. So these are coming right along. They're coming along beautifully. I absolutely love this pattern. I love it so much, and I can see myself actually I'm already like planning what color yarn I want to knit this pattern in again for next year. I totally want to knit this pattern for, I really want to knit this pattern for somebody in the family. So I'm going to knit this pattern definitely again to be a gift. And here's another one of those stitch markers in this set. This is probably my favorite one of all of them. I just love like the flat glass bead. I love the amber colors that they used. And again, you know, I love the shape of the ring too. I just love these. And these are being knitted on my size 1 Susan Bates Velocity. I want to say these are 24 inch. Although I'm magic looping with them, even though you normally magic loop with 40 inch, but these are 24 inches, and I actually like magic looping with this for pairs of socks, just because I don't have all that extra cable to mess with. I'm weird that way. I am. Here's the pattern, because I actually haven't had the pattern to show you. Let me flip the page around. But it is by the Fat Squirrel from the Fat Squirrel Speaks. If you Google Fat Squirrel Speaks, or you can find Amy Beth on iTunes or her website, and it's the Fat Squirrel Speaks. She has a wicked fun podcast, and this is designed by her. Bridget Socks. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this. There we go. So there's the pattern. Sorry, my printer's only black and white, but the color picture is gorgeous. Again, free pattern on Ravelry because she was so sweet to put it up for free. So anyway, after she knit these for herself and then decided to go ahead and write the pattern, have it test knitted and put it up on Ravelry, I've waited months for these socks. So as soon as I noticed that she had posted the pattern, I hopped on it. I'm telling you, I hopped on it, because when she knitted hers, I was jealous. I wanted to set. So there was that. And those aren't counting towards Sock It To Me, because I did start those before the new year. So they don't count. They count for me, but nobody else. I have no more progress yet on Crosswords at the Coffee Shop. Crosswords at the Coffee Shop. I do want to maybe get that done by Valentine's Day, though. So now that said, I have to do it. So I am going to work on that this week. I still have tons of yarn left over from the Tardis. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it. Well, I know I want to make a couple of hats and then just throw them in my FO bin to be gifted later on, as birthdays come up, holidays come up, things like that. So, doing that. So that's pretty much it for works in progress also. Oh, I do have a lot of spinning in progress, but where is my spindle? I've been really learning. It's over there. Darn. I've been really learning my bottom whorl drop spindle. And so I've been spinning the Flame Merino on the bottom whorl drop spindle that I showed last week. And I do have quite a bit more progress, but it doesn't look any different than it did last week, so I'm not going to worry about getting up and showing you that. It's on the table over there because that's where I was spinning it. But I spent quite a bit of time spinning on it a couple nights ago. I have about 2 more ounces to spin. I also am doing the Expand Your Horizons spin along with the Knit Girls. So you can find the Knit Girls at www.thenitgirls, as in GIRLLS, 3 L's in the Knit Girls. You can find Leslie, you don't call her Les, but you can find Leslie and Laura from the Knit Girls on that website. And on Ravelry as well. The Knit Girls is a group on Ravelry. And on Ravelry you can find out information on the Expand Your Horizons. They're doing it again this year. So 6 months out of the year, the opposite months that they did last year's. So you have approximately 2 months to spin your fiber, because they know some people are drop spinning and some people are wheel spinning. And drop spinning tends to take people a little bit longer, especially if they're used to wheel spinning. I can actually drop spin pretty quickly. It may not be totally even, but I can do it pretty quickly. It shows though sometimes, so I'm trying to step back and take my time with it. But for the January, February one is Southdown, and it took me a while to find some Southdown. It really isn't was kind of a hard fiber to find. Most of what you find on Etsy and Artfire and stuff like that was merino or alpaca or such. I finally came across a shop on Etsy that last week had just put up some baby doll self down, and she had it at a really good price, and so like it was less than $10 even with shipping. It was like $8 with shipping or something like that. So it was really, really good price. And it's in the natural white, because I also had, I've been reading the and I'm going to review it this week. I've been reading the Fleece and Fiber source book that Laura Linneman talks about all the time, because it really, really is a good book, because I'm feeling around for the Kindle. Here it is. They, just reading that, the first few chapters in that, they really have me excited about, you know, spinning some fiber. I love color, and I love dyed fibers, and especially gradients, because they just keep my attention. I'm like, ooh, shiny things. But I'm really excited to spin this in the natural white. It's a really super white. Really excited to spin it. I haven't seen it yet. It did just arrive today, but I haven't gone to go pick it up. So I'll catch it tomorrow. So there's that. That's been along. So that's been along, goes through the end of February. And then I want to say I did, let me get my show notes, because I did write down what the following month is. What did I do with show notes? Show notes, where are you? Here we go. The following month, let me just flip back through my show notes here, so you might hear some paper. I wrote it down. I want to say it's Jacob or it's Cormo. Not sure. It is Jacob, and then for May it's Coopworth, July Cormo, September Finn, November Dorset. And you can actually find the list on the Knit Girls group on Ravelry. And so anyway, yeah, but there's the list. March is Jacob, May is Coopworth, July is Cormo, September is Finn, and November is Dorset. That reminds me to go ahead and declare something. Stitches South is in April. It's mid-April, I want to say. 11th through the 14th or something like that. They have finally heard the cry of the knitters, because it is understandably an expensive event, you know, if you want to take classes or whatever, because materials are there, you know, the instructors, you know, they don't do it for free. They do enjoy what they do, but it costs, these events cost money. They have to rent space, they have to, I think it's at a hotel or something, you know, so they have to pay the hotel. Excuse me if you hear my dog snore. She is, let me wake her up, there we go. She snores really loud. And I just noticed she was snoring. So anyway, just to take a class at Stitches South, like one class, and that includes a dinner and like a fashion show ticket or whatever, is like $200 and some odd dollars. To do like the whole package is like $500 and something dollars. I don't have that kind of money. I just graduated college, yo. I mean, it's not, and I have a small one at home. It would be fun, and I totally understand it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not griping about the prices. But a lot of people, I mean, that is a little bit out of the realm for a lot of people. So they did finally add just market day tickets. So you can actually go online with Stitches South and get a one-day ticket. You can get one for all 3 days also, but personally I'm going to find everything that I want in the one day, so it's fine. And at least I can now say that I will have been to my first like knitting event, so which has me wicked excited. So I did get $10 ticket for the one day for me and my daughter. So I spent $20 on tickets, and I am now not buying anything yarn knitting related at all until April. So my spin along for March is going to be late, but you have through till the end of April to do it, so that's okay. That's okay. I'll catch up, because I want to squirrel a little bit away and just take a budget with me to Stitches and then enjoy it. You know, I'm not going to go crazy, but it's going to be fun. And then a couple weeks later in May is sheep shearing day at a little farm up in North Georgia. And so they're inviting people out, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I have no pricing information on that, and I'm not sure if I linked it in the show notes because there's not really a lot of information on that yet. But if I didn't link it, I will soon. But that's coming up in May, like May 5th or something like that. So just a couple weeks after Stitches, and my daughter's really excited about that because they will also have had new lambs born. They expect the lambs to be born in late April. So there'll be new lambs. You'll get to see the lambs. You'll get to see the parent sheep. It is shearing day, so they're going to have sheep shearing demonstrations all day. They are also going to, apparently this time of year is the time of year the sheep get their pedicures done too. So we'll learn how to trim their hooves as well. And that's really neat. So I was really excited about that and did YouTube some videos and YouTube sheep shearing. You're going to find a wealth of information and some really informative, fun videos on there. So my daughter and I spent like half the day last weekend watching sheep shearing videos. It was a little bit crazy. And in one of the videos, you actually did get to watch a sheep get her hooves trimmed. So it was really, really interesting how they do that. Because I've never seen a sheep with unkempt hooves. And when they get long, I mean, you got like these two big like spikes coming off the end of their hooves. It's weird looking. No wonder they trim them. That just cannot be. That's going to make it hard for the sheep to walk the way they stick out like that. And they're really hard. So, yeah, that was really interesting. I was very fascinated by that. So I'm going to learn how to shear a sheep and trim hooves. And there's also supposedly on the website they're doing a spinning class as well. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, and I think we're just really going to enjoy like a day like doing that and getting close to the animals and learning a little bit about sheep farming and wool production and how that all works. So we're really excited. So that's just sort of going to be like a field trip type day for me and the child. So that's pretty much it. Lots of stuff. I'll probably get to let's do the book review now. Why not? So I've been reading on the Kindle the, let me turn it on here, the Fleece and Fiber source book that Lauren Linneman has highly recommended. And I'm trying to remember my password here. So, you know, I'm in here. There's some wools that they bought specifically for the book. It's really, really great. Like, she talks a lot about wool production, the wool production business, finding like breed specific stuff. She starts out in the beginning of the book talking a lot about where some of the like old breed sheep come from. Oh, excuse me. The old breed sheep like Jacobs and what some of the different fleeces and stuff is good for. Here's a section from Animal to Yarn where she talks a little bit about that, and how the sheep just shorn, how they get like big batches of wool together, and how when the sheep's sheared, how they can roll it up, and if they treat it gently, the way they shear it and pattern it down the sheep, they can actually roll it. It comes off in like one big like blanket of woolly goodness that they just roll up, and if they treat it gently enough, it will stay together because of all the lanolin and grease that's left in the wool until it's washed. Because if you use, and this is something I learned by watching the videos too, if you shear for production, most of the time the shepherds use electric shears, which will take the sheep all the way down to the skin, so you're getting all that lanolin layer and stuff on the bottom of the fleece. And so if you don't want that in your fiber as a consumer, you're going to want to look for fleece that's washed, combed, prepped, things like that, unless you know how to do it yourself, because it is possible to do it yourself. I have a friend in Idaho that knows how to do all of that and will often prep her own wool. So there's that. If you use hand shears, it leaves a little bit of wool on the sheep. They're not quite so naked when they're done, although a chubby ewe naked, too cute. Really too cute. But some small farms, the lady's YouTube that I watched that was doing shearing sheep with hand shears, she prefers it for several reasons. It does leave the lanolin layer on the sheep. It leaves about, that much growth on the sheep left, like I think she says like a month or so worth of wool still on the sheep, and it allows the sheep's body to acclimate to not having all that heavy wool a little bit better. The lack of the buzzing noise keeps the sheep a little bit calmer because you don't really hear the snipping of the shears. The wool's too thick. The only thing that's a little bit, you get used to it, especially as an experienced shearer. She said when you go up and you go to do the long blow up the belly, and a blow is, let me explain a blow. A blow is when they're actually taking the shears to the wool and they're, going. When you go to take the blow up the neck to do what they call break the wool, and you're going up the sheep's bottom of their neck, that can be a little scary on the hand shears because they are very, very sharp, wicked looking torture device tool things. Some of the electric ones, actually, it's amazing the sheep put up with this, except that they must feel good in the summertime when they don't have all that heavy wool. But when you can't see where they're going, it's scary. Like, I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, she's gonna like pop the sheep under here and kill it by accident. But she says you just get used to it. You just gotta not panic. You gotta just make sure you know where you're going. You learn how to do it by feel. So they get up there and then they break it. They pop it up like this, and that breaks the wool, so that it opens up in a sheet. And then you can go, I think you do like a couple of more blows, because they follow a pattern on the animal to keep it where it will come off in a sheet, so that they can roll it up and send it off to the mill for wool production. And they do the long blows up the back, which is really cute. And then if you have a fuzzy-headed sheep, like a Jacob sheep, or I think a Jacob sheep's got all the extra wool on top of the head, then they have like a pattern that they go around the head and stuff too. So it's really, really cool. There's actually one British agricultural university that has a really good, they have 2 videos that they have put up on sheep shearing, and one he's actually shearing the ewe, and then after he shears her, there's a second video where he has these 2 really big wax crayons, and he literally lays her back down, and he puts her back in shearing position, and he draws on her body the patterns that they go. It's like blue crayon for one side and green crayon for the other side. So the poor sheep, she goes back out to the herd with all these like colors on her. She looks like psychedelic sheep, but it's for teaching purposes, and it's really, really cool video. So do check that out if you can. Oh, but I can't remember the name of the university, but it is an agricultural university in England, and they do have their video on YouTube because I think it's for recruitment purposes. So really, really cool video. Apparently lots of employment opportunities if all you do is shear sheep. Farms and shepherds don't actually often shear their own sheep. They hire hands to do that. And so a lot of the appeal to that kind of work for people, it's very hard work because you're bent over for a good part of the day. As a matter of fact, if you have to do a lot of sheep, there's this special harness that you put around you, like right here, to kind of take some of the pressure off your back. You can rest on it. But apparently the appeal to that is, traveling, because they can travel to Australia or the United States or Canada or wherever there's a lot of sheep production. So they have pretty good enrollment according to the video, I think, because of that. So there's that. And then the fleece and fiber source book, getting back to this because I digressed back to YouTube like that because that's how my brain works. But this is just a really, really excellent source for just terms to know, how stuff's done. It explains like what a bat is, what bulky, what they mean by carding, card clothing, chalky, clip, all these terms. Some of these terms I've never even heard before. Here's a picture of combing tools. Here she's going more about draft and elasticity and felts. So they're going into like spinning terms for drop spinning. But then as you go back into here, skirting, second cuts, twists, I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. And then here's part 1, sheep, oodles and boodles of wool is part 1. And you can't see that on the camera, which is probably good because, you know, this is kind of interesting though, and this was a quote from Robert Plant, who was a singer-songwriter for Led Zeppelin, in case, you know, some of you, if you're younger viewers, may not be familiar with. But he is quoted as saying, "I think I could sing and shear a few sheep at a time," which I thought is pretty cool. But this is when they start going into blackface, and this is blackface sheep. And it's a beautiful picture of a herd of blackface sheep being shepherded by a guy on a tractor. Swallowdale sheep in Yorkshire. So this is when here's a beautiful map. Turn it that way, you can kind of see it a little bit. There's a beautiful map of that region. This is where they sort of go in and they're talking about hair sheep. And then different types of ply, clean and wool, a couple different wools. And then here you go, the starter guide to breed specific wools is in here. I mean, it's really, really cool book that's just an overall, I mean, I've been reading this before bed like almost every night. I'm having such a hard time putting it down. It's the nerd in me. But it teaches you how to read your yarn, different types of wool, what they're good for. Like here's the Blackface Mountain family, and it starts going into the breeds. The Dalesbred, the facts about Dalesbred. Here you go. The fleece weight is in here. It can be 4.5 to 7 pounds of fleece weight. The staple length is 5 to 8 inches. It goes into fiber diameter, lock characteristics, long staples with curly pointed tips, thick at the bases, and a loose wavy crimp. Natural colors, white, mostly but not completely free of black or gray fibers. So it's going to be mostly white, and you may have some other colors in there. It tells you how to dye it and things like that. Knitting, crocheting, weaving, like basically what it's best known for. Pictures. Then you go into the Derbyshire Gritstone, and it's just a fascinating book. You know, pictures of what the sheep looks like, and I love the ones with the little black faces. Oh my gosh. Really fascinating book. Here's the Lonk, which is a conservation breed. So I'm not going to go into any more of this, but if you have never looked at the Fleece and Fiber Source Book, I highly recommend you picking this up. It's a fabulous, especially if you want to go and get into spinning. This goes into a lot of how it might spin up, characteristics of the sheep. Also, and it's something that one of the authors of this has a free Craftsy class. Craftsy occasionally has a free class that you can get into to help promote their classes. This class is absolutely free. It's called Know Your Fiber, and it's by one of the ladies that wrote this book. And one thing that she said in the class, because I've watched the class, it's fascinating. And one of the things that she did say, you know, some of the conservation breeds like the Jacobs and the other breeds that are getting really rare and hard to find because they're really small in numbers due to a lot of different reasons. In order to keep those breeds alive and to keep them going, there has to be a demand from the fiber market. There has to be people like us, knitters and spinners, that want to work with those fibers and to be demanding about those fibers. And we can find them. And the more we are consumers of those fibers, the more those sheep will be bred, and the more we can help actually bring that breed back up in numbers and help the breed survive. So, and I think that's very, very important. Tree-hugging dirt worshiper that I am. I really do. I'm not even being funny there. It's really important to try to save some of these breeds of beautiful sheep. So if you haven't checked that out, it's www.craftsy.com. Go on their online classes list, go down to spinning, and you will find that class. And it's, if you've never taken a Craftsy class before, That's a great way to just kind of try it out and get a feel for what they're like, because it is absolutely free. So definitely do that. I'm a big fan of Craftsy, although I do have to make a correction. I think I said last week that I am totally self-taught in spinning. Actually, not quite. I did teach myself spinning through watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, but I did actually get a Craftsy class back in November for my birthday, from Fluff to Stuff with Drusilla Pettibone, and that taught me a lot. So I was really taught by Drusilla Pettibone a little bit. So yeah, just to make that correction. I think that's pretty much it. So we got the book review out of the way. We've talked about whips. We've talked about finished objects. I've even knitted a little bit. Now though, we're going to get into some fun, because now it's time, okay, for the geek segment. So if you guys were just here for the knitting, bye-bye. You won't hurt my feelings. If you guys skip the knitting part, it is now time for the geek section. And so if you love gaming and sci-fi, fantasy, conventions, anything remotely geeky, welcome. This podcast is also for you. I like to cater to a bigger audience. And so let me get this out, because I actually have a list. Since we're still in the new year, I have a top, I think, my personal opinion, I've got a top 12 of 2012 down written for you. And some of the geeky items that just tickled my inner geek that doesn't quite so hide. So let's get started. I think I'll go up the list. I think I'll start with number 12, and we'll work our way to what I think might be the best. Face Off. Face Off on the Sci-Fi Channel. Really, really great show. I'm not a reality show person at all. I'm really not, but I love this show. I'm fascinated. I watch a lot of sheep shearing videos, apparently, as I just confessed. But I watch a lot of knitting videos, because I love watching people knit, and I can pick up new things. I also watch beauty blogs a lot, because I've always been, even as a little child, I always liked to sit and watch my mom, or a friend of my mom's when she lived with us for a little while, like get ready for work and put their makeup on and things like that. And always been fascinated by that. And now YouTube, I found a lot of really beautiful beauty bloggers that I really love, and I have a few that I love a lot. But Face Off is like, takes that to a whole new level. Like, I get to watch people do crazy Halloween movie makeup, and it's awesome to watch the latex, stuff get built, and the costuming get done, and the body painting and all that is absolutely fascinating. And a lot of people on the show are amateurs, and just the stuff that they can rock out in a very, very short amount of time is just amazing. My daughter loves this show too. We watch it as a family, so we TiVo it and we'll watch it the next morning and just sit together as a family over breakfast and watch that show. It's just great. So Face Off is my number 12. I love Face Off. My best friend Chris came to see me over the holidays, yay! And when she left me this great little present that came from the Bath and Body Works. I love it. It's a tin of mints, and you're like, well, what's so special about a tin of mints? An Altoids, an Altoid, an Altoid. They're strong mints, but they're not as strong as Altoids, which is good, because I like to freshen my breath, not clean my sinuses out. I got a neti pot for that. But these are cool. These totally hi puppy. My puppies come over to say hi again, my big dog. Look at this! They're in a Ouija board. They're called Mystifying Mints. She picked them up at the Bath and Body Works. I love them. I like the mints, and I'm enjoying the mints, but I don't care about the mints. I like the tin. I don't know what I'm going to use the tin for, but it's going to find a use. It's going to have a use. I love it. It's awesome. Excuse me. Really, really awesome. I'm actually going to have a mint. There we go. Mint. I should probably give the mint to a dog, because, man, this dog's got some stinky breath. So, Mystifying Mints. Love it. I haven't checked to see if the mint glows in the dark or not, the tin. But, yeah, it's just cool. I don't even care if it glows in the dark. It's awesome. You can freshen your breath and dial up the spirits at the same time. Really cool. So, Mystifying Mints made number 11 on my list. Number 10. Tetris Splash, and then we have recently discovered Go, if you don't know what Go is, it looks like a game called Othello, played more like chess. It's it's a game about developing or conquering territories, and it's an Asian game, and it's very, very much a strategy game. And my daughter's been loving it. My roommate plays, and he's been teaching her and I how to play. So it's a lot of fun. We just downloaded that we've got the trial downloaded. Probably gonna end up downloading the full version, which is about $5 to the Xbox 360. So yeah, it's really a good game. It's teaching her a lot about sportsmanship as well as problem solving and strategy. So I really, really like it. You know, a lot of kids get into playing chess. If they're going to play chess, they kind of start at her age. This is like chess. It has chess-like strategy, but I think it's a little bit easier for her to understand because she doesn't have to keep straight in her mind like how a knight moves or how a queen moves or something like that. Yet the strategy is at the same level of chess. So I really like it. So we've been having fun with that game. Google, number 9 on my list. I know, it seems a little otherworldly nerdy, but Google Doodles are the bomb. I love Google Doodles, especially when we get around the holidays. I like to see what kind of Google Doodle is up next. Sometimes I will specifically go to google.com just to see what the doodle looks like. That's how nerdy I am. Let's see. Number 8. And I don't know that I have them in the same order on my show notes, but I'm sort of going through. Number 8, The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead series. Really, really great series. It's a series on television, and it actually started out as comics. My husband's got the comic novels, and we watched the show on TV, which is filmed largely in Atlanta. I think it's great. It's not just your typical zombie apocalypse horror show. It does have some really, really good character development and depth of characters, and the storyline and how the different characters surviving the zombie apocalypse and how they relate to each other and rely on each other for survival. So it's as much about that as it is the geeky zombie thing. So yeah, The Walking Dead gets 2 geek thumbs up. Definitely on that. The whole series and books too. If you can get a hold of the books, definitely read those too. They're a little bit different from the series, although the series is starting to get a little bit closer to the way the storyline in the books is going, but definitely enjoy both. The art in the books is amazing. Again, too, largely filmed in Atlanta. I want to say it was like episode 4 in season 1 was filmed down at the Goat Farm, which is sort of like an art mecca down in Atlanta. Okay, so number 7, geeksaresexy.com. Geeksaresexy.com is like a news article blog site featuring Callie Cosplay, who is a cosplay model, and she's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You can catch her at DragonCon, PhilCon, some other conventions. I think she also travels and does Comic-Con. She's great. And the website, though, it's not just about her. There is really awesome, informative articles, reviews, and things like that on there. So Callie's great and gorgeous, but it's also just a lot of thought put into this website, a lot of research done, and really, really fun site. They've got a lot of fun stuff on there all the time. So I really love Geeks Are Sexy. I'm on there quite a bit. Let's see, number we on? Number 6, I guess? The Guild. The Guild is Felicia Day from, if you guys remember, the redhead that was dating Fargo from Eureka, which Eureka almost made my list, but it's sort of over now. I haven't watched it in almost a year because it ended, and I miss Eureka. She was in like the last few seasons of Eureka, and she's a really good actress, and The Guild is sort of her brainchild because she's also a gaming geek and a gamer, WoW player, and things like that. And The Guild is sort of about like a stereotypical gamer and her guild of other stereotypical gamers, and stereotypical guild called the Knights Are Good, playing a game very similar to WoW. And it's sort of about like their shenanigans, and it's gone through 6 seasons now, and I do think that season 6 is the last season for the guild, and that makes me a little bit sad because the guild is awesome. I do hope to see a spin-off on that. But definitely, if you want some hilarious laughs, and to be able to laugh at yourself a little bit, because honestly, I sit there and watch the guild a little bit, and every once in a while I go, oh my gosh, that is so us. That is so my group of friends. You know, me and my husband and our roommate and our friends Mike and Kara and a bunch of us. We totally could fit into that category. So sadly, like, I think Brian might slap me for this, but sometimes he reminds me of Bork. But anyway, very, very cool. Very cool show. If I had to pick somebody that I know that would fit into a category and be like any of the characters on there, my friend Tiny would be Blades. Completely. I might get smacked for that one too. Because if you've ever watched this show, these people are messed up, really. They're messed up. But it's a show that really pokes fun at gamers and the whole PC gaming genre. Her channel, the guild can be found on her channel, which also made number 5 on my list, Geek and Sundry. Geek and Sundry is Felicia Day's YouTube channel that she created not only for the guild and for her weekly podcast called The Vlog, which is awesome, and I'll talk about that in a second. But there's the vlog, there's the guild, there's a show by Will Wheaton called Tabletop, where he shows you his favorite like tabletop games and how they're played. He gets together with a group of friends in his amazing basement and goes through playing some of the games. And the very first tabletop episode that I saw was his episode on Settlers of Catan, which I already knew how to play that game. But to sit and watch him and Felicia Day and a couple of other people play it was just a lot of fun. I love that show. So there's that. The Dragon Con Space Janitors have moved over to Geek and Sundry, so they've got a weekly show on there. There is a sci-fi fantasy genre book review type show called Sword and Laser. Anyway, yeah, so it's a really, really great channel. If you have not checked out the Geek and Sundry channel on YouTube, please go to YouTube right now and check out Geek and Sundry, even if you leave my podcast to go watch it. Do. Really, you will not be disappointed. Speaking of which, indie games, the players really keep indie games going, really make indie games possible. And if you are looking for a really fun, sometimes free to play games to download, and sometimes they don't cost that much, go to indieroyal.com, INDIEROYAL.com. There is a whole list of indie games by independent game creators. Lots and lots of fun stuff, and you will find, I think, more than one game that you like. Moving on, number 3, knitting apps, mobile knitting apps, because we are really a wireless community now. To see a computer still wired in is rare. Mobile, smartphones and tablets, it just opens up the internet. We can access the internet now wherever we go. We're not just doing it at home or the office. And knitters knit in public. We go all the time. We go to knit-alongs at our local yarn shops, things like that. And there is a bunch of knitting apps. Just Google mobile knitting apps, and you're going to come to websites that list whole bunches of knitting apps. And they're anywhere from freeware to they cost like just a little bit. I think the one that my friend Kiara Panther uses, she is from the podcast A Cat and Her Yarn. The one that she uses, I think, costs like $3.99 or something like that, or $4.99. It was very cheap, and it keeps track of your, like, it has like a mobile stitch marker almost. Keeps track of your stitches, keeps track of your rows, you can track multiple patterns on it, multiple projects. Really, really cool app, and there's some free ones too. And I believe there's even some apps for the Mac user. So, if you were looking for some PC apps, Google that. as well, and either PC or Mac, and you should be able to find some as well. Number 2, if you want to see an absolutely hilarious, he's a gothic cabaret performer. His name is Aurelius Voltaire. Voltaire is awesomely hilarious. I caught him for the first time live at this past DragonCon last September. I laughed till I peed myself. His latest CD is called Bitrexual, which is about half the CD is songs spoofing Star Trek. The second half is songs spoofing Star Wars. And there's even a Doctor Who, It's Bigger on the Inside, it's a Doctor Who song that he spoofs about the TARDIS. So it's really, really fun if you want to listen. Now it is very explicit. Don't listen to it around your children, or you will have a lot of explaining to do that you might not be prepared to explain. But if you don't mind a little bit of crass adult humor, you will like Voltaire. If adult humor is not your cup of tea, avoid him. Because he can be crass a little bit, but I love it. I love it. So he does have this monologue on the CD about he has a 6-year-old, and this monologue about how his son had questions about why some people like died and disappeared in Star Wars and Darth Vader didn't, and how he explained that, and it was just wicked funny. So anyway, I won't go any more into that because you really just have to go get the CD. You can even download it from Amazon. It's awesome, awesome fun. Check out Voltaire if you don't mind a little bit of adult humor. And last but not least, my friend Tiny, my best friend ever, my brother from another mother, turned me on to this webcomic that is amazing. It's been around since, I want to say it's 2004. It's been around since, I want to say November 2004. It comes out 3 days a week. It comes out on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Go to www.girlgeniusonline.com and you'll be taken to this amazing webcomic called girlgenius.com, which is about the misadventures of a college student in the Victorian era. So it's a steampunk comic, and her name is Agatha Clay, and she's sort of like in the very beginning, she's this gal that just can't seem to do anything right. She's got problems. She can't get her like machines in the comic, they're called clanks. She can't get them to work. She gets mugged and loses her mother's locket that she, was hoping she was basically charged to take care of, and yet she like, in the process of this though, she's upset that she loses the locket when she gets mugged, but she decks the guys that are mugging her. They end up getting away with her locket, but she, pulls some, she opens up a can of whoop on them. To me, she's like a really cutesy version of, like, if you were to make Tank Girl into a Victorian outfit, that would be Agatha Clay. She's her own, but she's like a little bit Tank Girl tough in there as well, and so she's really cool. She just doesn't have the attitude, but she's like there everywhere else. It's in there. I love Girl Genius, so absolutely check that out. So that's our show for this week. That was my top 12 of 2012. Please, if you like Woolley Geek and you like the format, drop a comment on YouTube. Just comment below. Oh, please give me a thumbs up if you really like it. We would love to hear from you, and love to see a thumbs up. And if there's anything, if you have a top 12 of 2012, do comment. I'm curious. I love to kind of check out new geeky, nerdy things. If you have like knitting. Oh, speaking of, there is a website. And if you are watching or do watch the Knit Girls podcast, they have they feature ads in the knitting community on the right side of their screen on their Blip channel. Again, www.theknitgirls.com. There is a new website called Nimble Sticks. www.nimblestix.com, Nimblesticks. It is, if you really want to kind of think of it, it is the love child of Facebook and Ravelry. If Facebook and Ravelry had a one-night stand, Nimblesticks is the result. I'm not kidding. So it's a lot of fun. It is in its early beta test. So go to that website if you're curious. Find me there. I am the Woolley Geek. Or you will find me there. You might be able to find me there by my name, which is Holly Sullivan, on Nimblesticks. And join me in this beta test. It is early, so be patient with them. If you are having issues with the site, make sure you let the moderators know. And they'll friend you right away so that you can communicate with them. So you will instantly have 3 friends when you join Nimblesticks. And those are the people that are creating this site. So they need to know what's going on. So if you are having site issues, they'll put in a ticket and get it fixed. Because it is in its beta stage. And if you don't know what a beta stage is, it's the beta stage of any website or application or software is before it goes live, sort of. It relies on people that need to use that resource to help them find the final bugs and anything that they may have missed in the development. It's the last quality check. So a beta test can go on for a couple years. It generally goes on for 1 to 2 years usually, but it's a time to get those final bugs out, and then when it goes live, it goes live. So it's really, really important that, especially if you know anything about really what you want Nimblesticks to be, this is your time as a social networker and a knitter to shape that website and make it be what you want. So definitely come on over to Nimblesticks and help them out with it. I've been playing around with it a little bit. I love it. I think it's great. So anyway, I will see you next week. Hopefully I'll see you on Nimblesticks. Be sure to friend me. And that's it for this episode. We'll see you for episode 8 next week. Bye-bye.